Yo, it's Sway.
Sway.
Sway. Sway.
Sway.
Sway.
Sway.
In the morning.
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 Only on Shade 45.
Wake your fuck ass up.
Yeah. Bitches.
We have a legendary director, screenwriter, producer, man, and just a great mind, a revolutionary mind in the world of film. And he's here with us today to talk about Django Unchained. It's the one, the only Quentin Tarantino, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, man. Thank you for that intro, man. I feel much love,
Come on, man. First and foremost, man, your body of work speaks for itself, man. When I became a gigantic fan early on in the career and Pulp Fiction days, and and since then, I think Michael Jordan did this.
Talk about it.
Michael Jordan, when he came onto the basketball court, he defied gravity and the usage of his body in ways that a lot of people had never seen and probably never thought of unless you was at the Rutgers, here in, New York City or some little park tucked away in some urban center somewhere across the country. And from that spawned the talents of the Kobe Bryants and the LeBron James and all these different guys that you see doing remarkable things now. We saw that in the breakdance era as well.
Yeah.
New York City Breakers and Rocksteady Crew were doing things that now when you travel around the world, you see the Koreans and you see the French and you see the Germans defying, the laws of gravity and breakdancing. I think you've done the same thing in the way people approach making films.
Oh, that's a hell of a compliment, man. Thanks a bunch, man.
Yeah, man, and it had to be in the beginning days. I know a lot of people said you're crazy, you're insane about your approach. But what was that turning point for you that you felt like the world really gravitated towards your talent?
Well, it was funny because the first two scripts that I wrote before Reservoir Dogs was True Romance. That was the first script. That's the first script I ever wrote.
Yeah. Okay.
And Natural Born Killers.
I remember that.
That was my second script.
Woody Harrelson was in that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was just kind of going my own way. I wasn't, I was actually thinking we were coming off of the 80s, which I actually think was one of the worst decades for Hollywood movies. It's just, everything was just very compartmentalized, and everything was about not bothering the audience. Everything was about keeping films likable and all the characters likable, and just it was the touchstone era, basically, for comedies, for dramas, for everything. And even if a movie kind of walked the wild side a little bit, it would have to straighten out by the last 20 minutes, and all of a sudden these bullshit endings come into it.
Happy endings.
Yeah. And then I wanted to just kind of follow my own stories, and the thing is, you can read a novel, and character can be a total bastard, but he's an interesting character, and you follow him through his purpose, and then you didn't have to clean stuff up to make that happen. And so that's where I wanted to go. Well, that was just considered I was wrong. That's the wrong way. And my movies are so dialogue heavy.
Yeah.
And well, this ain't a movie, this is a play. And what's all this talking about pop culture? People that, you don't do that in movies. But I always thought, people do talk about that. That's one of the only things they do talk about anymore. And so, it was considered the wrong, unless you were David Mamet or something, it was considered the wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it was for a long period of time. But when I wrote Reservoir Dogs, it's something about the fact that it was so small. It could be a small movie, and it was so compact. But also, I do think it's like, you try for things for a long time. And sometimes it takes years. But, during those years, you're getting ready. And Reservoir Dogs was ready to be made by the time that I wrote it. My time had finally come.
Yeah.
My time had finally come, and it was small enough that they could take a chance on it.
Wow.
And then once my foot was in the door, then I was in the door.
And the rest is history, man.
It's Sway in the morning. Only on Shade 45.